Sydney, who's making a little piggy of himself. He's sausaging as best he can today. He's making sure that his sausage is well filled and that he can go and be a proper sausage, probably down on the ground at some point. So he's still kind of munching away, and it's amazing just how much these cats can put away. And it's also incredible to watch how his stomach grows. As we sit here, you can see his stomach is stretching a little bit more. He's still got some more room. If you look on his belly, you see there's a little flap of skin there. Do you see it? Where its tummy is stretched before. So that's still got to stretch out a little bit more. So he's still got some space in there. There's still about an inch of room where that tummy can expand a little bit further and some more meat can go in. So he still has room for more. Surprisingly enough, you would think after eating for as long as he has, when you compare domestic animals, when they eat, you'd think that if they ate for this long, they would be little pork sausages. And well, Tingana, while he has filled up a little bit, still has more space. And yes, he is also a pork sausage, and he will get bigger and bigger, and he kind of has mastered the art of being a sausage in a tree. I remember there was one time where he was so full, I can't remember what he ate, but maybe it was the times he had those 2 wildebeest kills, but he ate himself to the point where literally you could not even see it didn't even look like he had proper legs. His legs looked too short for him completely. It looked as though they were kind of up to his elbows, because his tummy was just sort of enveloped around this branch with his big dewlap and his neck. It literally just looked like this nose. And I don't know if any of you have seen those cartoons of those inflatable animals that bounds around, and there's the leopard that falls out the tree. He literally did look like that. It looked like this small little face with his nose and these eyes, and then this long tubular shape with a tail that was stuck into it. And the legs themselves, like I say, looked completely too short for him because he was just so full. And kind of the way he was sitting on the branch, everything was just squashed up, and he really did look exactly like a little sausage in a tree. It was quite funny actually to watch him at that day, and eventually kind of obviously he digested out and he looked normal again. But it was the whole morning he kind of looked completely ridiculous sitting up in a tree, and looked very sorry for himself for the most part as well, that he was so full. I think it was in the summer months as well, because those wildebeest, it must have been just beginning of summer, and it was a hot day, and he just didn't really look as though he was very comfortable at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it though. I thought it was highly entertaining to kind of watch him go about it. But you can see now he's just opening that carcass out a little bit, and he's going to go down the other side of the kind of rib cage, and there's still quite a bit of meat in there, which is really good news for him. There's also a little bit of skin and sinew, and those are all going to be good things for him to eat. Scott, so you're asking when he's done and he leaves it, what will happen to the carcass? Well, there won't be a carcass when he leaves, normally. I mean, sometimes, like the other day, for some strange reason, he left it and moved off, but generally they just eat everything, and what they don't eat, they drop. So as he kind of eats through the legs and through the neck and those kind of things, so you start to see him kind of dropping little pieces, and then things like hyenas obviously come in and they'll kind of clean that up. So there should be nothing left here by the time he's done. Maybe just a set of horns that the hyenas carry away. I wouldn't be surprised if anything does fall and Corky or Pretty are around, that it gets carried back to the den, and you might find this impala skull actually back at the hyena den in the next few days. It does happen quite regularly. It's quite funny actually when you see a carcass and then you see the bits of it at the den in the following days, particularly things like buffalo. If the hyenas get into buffalo carcasses, then you'll start to see kind of legs and all kinds of things falling down. Now a little piece dropped down, so I'm surprised where's the hyena gone? Is it still here? No, it looks like it's walked off. Oh well, it's hyena's loss. There was some stuff that landed on the floor there. I didn't know what. It looked like it might have been a bit of stomach content, but normally when there's something that falls from these trees, when there's a leopard involved, the hyenas are in there like a flash to go and sniff about and grab whatever there is, so as that they can make sure they get a bit of nutrients out of it as well. What are you doing, Tingana? It's just repositioning it slightly. Isn't this cool though? Very seldom we get to see a leopard kind of feeding at the same eye level as you do, or as that we are, particularly when it's up in a tree. It's normally looking up at it, so it's always quite nice to be on the same sort of plane. Anyway, back to Brent in the tent, who's still on about Gabon and various other things, and so I'm sure you're all quite interested to hear what he's got to say next.